Instead of the refreshing feeling he was looking for, he felt something horribly wrong with his body. A bitter, burning sensation quickly spread throughout his throat, followed by an intense wave of nausea. It wasn't long before he was lying on the road in excruciating pain.
I think about that when I drink McDonald's Sprite, you know what I'm saying? Like, I get that same sensation. My throat go to burning, I drop to my knees, and I'm just like ready to deteriorate. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Drive forward.
Drive, uncle! Drive, uncle! Drive, uncle!
Excuse me, bitch, I was running on my back. Money on my shoulder, put designer on my ass. This shit too nice, but it's fucking up my head. So I be getting high, but I ain't popping fuckers in.
Alright, guys, so title of this one from Chillin' Scares: serial killers that are still on the loose today.
I knew it was fake.
I don't know. I hope it's fake. Now, without further ado, niecey, nephew, make sure you hit that like button for the algorithm, and Uncle Lou, make sure you share the video with somebody next to you, and then hit that subscription with that notification muscle, because we on the way to 10K in 2025, and you know, 7K in April. That junk sound kind of nice. Now, we're going to jump right into this one. I know y'all scared like that.
Killer. On April 30th, 1985, a 45-year-old truck driver stopped near a vending machine in Fukuyama, Japan. He was exhausted from work and was looking for an energy drink to help him power through the rest of the day. When he approached the vending machine, however, he noticed something surprising. A bottle of Oranaminsi energy drink was already in the pickup tray. Thinking he'd lucked down on a free drink, the truck driver wasted no time chugging it down. What he didn't know was that this would be the last drink he would ever taste. Instead of the refreshing feeling he was looking for, he felt something horribly wrong with his body. A bitter, burning sensation quickly spread throughout his throat, followed by an intense wave of nausea. It wasn't long before he was lying on the road in excruciating pain. He was rushed to a nearby hospital where doctors discovered a lethal amount of paraquat dichloride in his system. Paraquat is an herbicide that was quite common in Japan at the time. More importantly, it's also highly toxic to humans. When ingested, it can lead to severe nausea, throat inflammation, internal chemical burns, and eventually death. This is also why it's been banned completely from over 70 countries to date. Unfortunately, despite knowing the reason for his illness, there was nothing the doctors could do to save his life. There's no antidote for the deadly chemical today, let alone back then. So after hanging on to his life for a month, the truck driver passed away on the 30th of May 1985. At first, investigators assumed that given the nature of his work, he might have accidentally encountered the toxic substance while on duty. However, after reviewing his haul records, they found no trace of this herbicide or anything remotely linked to it. This left them with only one conclusion: the chemical was mixed into the drink he consumed just moments before collapsing in agony. But with no leads or concrete evidence, they couldn't determine whether it was a murder or self-inflicted act, resulting in the case getting shelved for the time being. Now, while this might sound absurd today, you have to understand that paraquat was readily available in the country at the time. You didn't need any prescription or identification to purchase the chemical, leading to over 1,400 people using it as the poison of their choice in 1984 alone.
Bro, what the fuck? What the hell? I think about that when I drink McDonald's Sprite, you know what I'm saying? Like, I get that same sensation. My throat go to burning, I drop to my knees, and I'm just like ready to deteriorate. That McDonald's Sprite is no joke.
In other words, the possibility of it being self-inflicted was just as high. However, just as the investigators were about to give up on this case completely, they received tragic news. Another person had fallen victim to the same poison after consuming Oranaminsi on the 5th of September. Then another 6 days later, and one more 2 weeks after that.
That's actually
By this
crazy.
point, it was clear that someone was deliberately poisoning vending machine drinks across Japan. This was the work of a deranged serial killer. Unfortunately, this supposed killer was also extremely thorough. He didn't leave any fingerprint or DNA evidence on the drinks he tampered with, and only targeted vending machines with no CCTV cameras nearby. As for why his victims willingly drank the unknowingly poisoned drinks he left behind, that had to do with the buy one get one free promotion Oranaminsi was running around the time to entice younger consumers. However, since some people only wanted the one drink, they often left the second free drink near the vending machine as a gift for the next person. This was common enough that people didn't find the laced drinks suspicious and drank them without a second thought. Sadly, this method was terribly effective. By the end of the year, this mysterious vending machine killer had claimed the lives of 12 victims and had severely injured 35 more. As I mentioned earlier, this killer was a master of hiding his tracks. He operated all across western and central Japan, as well as Tokyo, making it near impossible for investigators to pinpoint his location. The lack of evidence also made it difficult to figure out his motive. Some speculated that he was doing all this to extort money from Otsuka Pharmaceutical, the company that made Oranaminsi. This is because in 1984, a group called the Mystery Men with 21 Faces threatened to—
Bro, what the heck, bro? Who the hell did this shit? I'm actually curious. Did they come down to this? Shout out Revolving. Welcome, Revolving. And Revolving, shout out to you. I seen you follow me on Twitch at LowtoneLu. Rest of y'all can find me on Twitch at LowtoneLu. And other social platforms like X and TikTok at LowtoneLu. Make sure y'all don't follow me. Y'all do go follow me on there. But yeah,
poison
man.
Food products unless the companies paid them money. So some believed that the vending machine killer was a copycat and wanted something similar. However, this theory didn't last very long because Otsuka Pharmaceutical didn't receive any demands or extortion letters from the perpetrator. Additionally, the killer also began using other drinks, like the drink Real Gold and even Coca-Cola. Hiroaki Iwao, a Tokyo professor of criminal sociology, proposed a more disturbing theory regarding the killer's motives. He stated, "It is not uncommon for Japanese who live under tremendous pressure, both on the job and in overcrowded communities, to let out their frustrations by hurting someone else. The person responsible may even wait around to see who buys the poisoned drink. He or she may find this is a kind of exhilarating release from the tensions of life in Japan." But even if this was the truth, it still didn't bring investigators any closer to catching the suspect. Left with no other options, the authorities turned to the public and launched a nationwide campaign on the 27th of September. They placed signs and distributed leaflets telling people to avoid suspicious free drinks and to properly inspect the cap seals on their beverages before consumption. They also instructed vending machine owners to investigate their stock for any anomalies.
Low-key had this thought too. Why the fuck don't all of our drinks come with this shit? Why the fuck don't our drinks come with this shit? I'm actually getting mad. This would make it so much simpler.
Consumption. They also instructed vending machine owners to investigate their stock for any anomalies and told chemical shops to monitor their customers more closely. It's unclear how effective this campaign was, as the number of victims kept increasing even after its launch. But then something unexpected happened. On the 17th of November, the murder spree stopped completely after the death of a 17-year-old girl. She was the only female to have died from the poisoning. It's possible that the person who committed these atrocities had a moral code against harming women, though that's nothing more than a baseless speculation. Due to the complete lack of evidence, the vending machine killer was never identified, cementing this case as one of the most chilling, unsolved mysteries in Japanese history. Little Rock serial stabber. On April 11, 2021, the Little Rock Police Department received a distress call from South Pulaski Street regarding a potential homicide. When they arrived at the scene, they found a middle-aged woman lying on the street with stab wounds all over her body. This woman turned out to be 41-year-old Deborah Walker. She was homeless at the time and was living on the streets when this incident happened. She was quickly taken to the hospital where medical staff discovered that she had been stabbed at least 15 times. Despite lying on the street, bleeding for what may have been hours, she miraculously survived and managed to regain consciousness the same day. Investigators also visited her in the hospital to gather any information she could provide about her attacker. Unfortunately, she was attacked somewhere between 1 and 4 a.m. It was still—
Alright, so I seen Grimm's. I was actually looking up, I don't know how to pronounce that. I was looking at that dude that he got away with this. He was like a killer that got that's actually crazy. So I was looking at one up. But Revolving Potato, great question. Jesse, welcome. But Revolving Potato, great question. To send me reaction videos, if it's via comments, guys, it's better to just do it with the title. It's better to do it with the title. because when you guys post links, if you guys post links, YouTube is gonna hide your comment completely from my channel. Like, I'm not gonna see it at all. Like, that's how I end up seeing comments from like 2 months later, a month later. I'll have to go back to like I don't know what I can't think of the name of the function they put there. I'm good with names now, Jesse. I'm very good with names. All I need is 1 or 2 times and I got you. I'm good on names. But yeah, so if you guys are going to give me suggestions, never, ever, ever post a link. Do not post links. They're going to hide it. So just post the title of the video and I got you.
Still dark outside, and all that she saw was that her attacker was a tall, African-American male with a slender build. Now, in most other similar cases, such limited information would hardly be enough to generate any leads. But in this instance, the description Deborah provided left the investigators in disbelief. That's because her attacker's profile closely matched the perpetrator of another incident that took place about 8 months earlier in the surrounding area. The victim of that incident was 64-year-old Larry Eugene McChristian. He was living in Little Rock with his daughter Sarah, who was on probation at the time. On the 20th of August 2020, he had a medical emergency and was taken to the hospital in an ambulance. He was discharged from the hospital the next morning. However, when the hospital staff tried to contact Sarah so she could pick him up, she wasn't answering her phone. So they gave Larry the information about a nearby homeless shelter and a bus token to get there. Later that day, Sarah came to the hospital looking for her father, only to learn that he'd been discharged hours ago. She then reached out to the homeless facility Larry was told about, but they didn't know anything about his whereabouts either. The only option she had was to file a missing persons report and wait for the police to find Larry. 2 days later, on the 24th of August, Sarah received the call she was waiting for. Tragically, it wasn't the news she had hoped for. According to the official report, the Little Rock Police Department found Larry's body on South Gaines Street at around 2 a.m. They identified him by the hospital discharge papers he had on him. More importantly, he had multiple stab wounds on his body and was unfortunately already dead by the time the police arrived. His death was declared a homicide, and the investigators began looking for clues almost immediately. This proved quite impossible at first, since there were no witnesses and there wasn't anything that could be used as evidence at the crime scene. However, after inspecting the surrounding houses, they had a major breakthrough. The CCTV camera outside a nearby house had captured the suspect walking down the street when suddenly he spots Larry and begins walking towards him. After committing the crime, he tries leaving the area only to stop, go back, and stab Larry one last time before fleeing. As mentioned earlier, this man matched the profile Deborah gave to the police, leading investigators to
this dude is like, why do people do this shit?
Believe she was attacked by the same person. While looking into older cases, they also connected the same killer to another murder that happened in the area on September 23, 2020. The victim of this incident was 62-year-old Jeff Welch, another homeless man who was living in an abandoned home. On the morning of that day, Jeff's friend found him on the porch of his house with a stab wound on his neck. By this point, the investigators knew they were dealing with a deranged serial killer. However, just as they uncovered the connection between the 3 attacks, another tragedy unfolded. On April 12, 2023, a day after the attack on Deborah Walker, another one of his victims was found on the Wright Avenue overpass. The only thing in common with these 4 attacks was that they all involved homeless individuals, and they all happened between 1 and 4 a.m.
Why do people do this-ish? My speculation is that back in the 1940s and 50s up to the 80s, in some places, lead was a commonly used material for water pipes in homes. This gives people who drink the water experience, among other things, cognitive decline and aggression. That's an interesting take for sure. This is why homeless needs bro. This is why homeless needs bodyguards. Like, they need bodyguards. This is actually crazy. Why? I don't understand why somebody. What are you gaining from doing something like that? Like, there's no financial gain. There's no like internal gain. There's no gain from hurting somebody or taking a life, especially in that way. There's no gain.
There seemed to be no clear pattern on how the perpetrator
There's no reason.
This left the Little Rock community terrified to leave their homes, fearing they might become the next victim of the serial killer on the loose. After realizing the potential danger of the situation, LRPD began spreading awareness about the man. They just like it.
That's so sickening to think about. They like it. Because then it makes me, every time I'm driving down the road, I'm always thinking that, like, within these 100 cars in front of me, who here is actually a serial criminal? You know what I'm saying? Who here has a crazy secret? Because if you do it statistically, somebody's out here doing something. Just based off the statistics. Stabbings are more personal way. Yeah, no, stabbing's more fatal. I'd rather get popped than stabbed. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, stabbing's fatal. Especially when, like, them prison stories, when they be telling them, they say, yeah, man, I seen a dude take a knife this big and it went through his back and it was hitting the ground and you see sparks coming out. Bro, they be telling the stories. It sound like war stories. Ewu cops discover house. I think I did that one. That might have been the one with the lady that got the documentary. Probably another homeless type. All victims are homeless. Yeah, man.
Who is now being referred to as the Little Rock Slasher. They also turned to the public to ask for any information they could provide on the matter, and even announced a $20,000 reward.
We also need your help. If you have seen anything suspicious or have surveillance cameras on your homes or businesses in this area, please contact us at 501.
Unfortunately, despite having CCTV footage of the suspect, the Little Rock Slasher was never caught. The case remains a mystery to this day.
That's crazy.
Or at least that's what the official reports say. While researching this case, I came across an Arkansas-based blog called the Snarky Media Report. The authors of this blog did their own investigation into the slasher case, and what they found was shocking to say the least. Put simply, they claim to have found the true identity of the killer after talking to multiple locals and Deborah, who, according to their blog, already knew the identity of her attacker. They also uncovered many details about this supposed killer, including his criminal record, which reveals that he has already served 2 prison terms in Arkansas for felony convictions of domestic violence. Also, his history with drug abuse and how it made him very agitated and violent. The authors of this blog also claim to have contacted the alleged killer's previous landlord, who gave them this image of the perpetrator. Which begs the question, if they know so much about the slasher, including his legal name, why didn't they give this info to the police? That's where the case goes from creepy to bizarre, since, according to them, they've already given everything they had to the relevant authorities. Despite this, the Little Rock police didn't make any progression in catching the serial killer. Snarky Media also published a video of the Little Rock mayor and police chief refusing to answer questions about the case. This seems to hint at something incredibly shady going on behind the scenes. That said, there's no way for me to confirm if the authors of the Snarky Media blog are telling the truth. For all we know, their whole investigation is made up, and this is just some random guy who has nothing to do with the 4 attacks, and it's all a ploy to make the Little Rock Police Department look bad. Most of the information they've gathered seems to check out with what's released publicly by the authorities. The only discrepancy in their investigation is the age of the suspect. Officials believe the slasher to be young, possibly in his 20s, but the authors of this blog state that the person they found was 46 years old. Unfortunately, this is where the leads end.
That's terrifying.
Whether Snarky Media is telling the truth or not remains uncertain. What is certain, however, is that the case remains unsolved to this day. The Little Rock Slasher is likely still out there and can continue his murder spree at any moment.
Bro, and he's probably like delivering mail, probably taking your order, you know, cleaning your neighborhood facility. Like, you don't know. This is BK, this is Nani.
Thanks to Trade Coffee for sponsoring this video. I never considered myself much of a coffee person, but recently I found myself...
And I are recluses. I'm a recluse too, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I would say I'm a recluse. Not how it sounds. Okay, found in milk crate.
Self getting really into it, though I quickly found out that it can get extremely expensive if you want to get the good stuff.
Hold on, Nate. He not paying me for this, so I ain't gonna lie to you. You gotta go. Yeah, you got a sponsorship deal? That must be nice.
On February 17, 1997, 21-year-old Patrick McNeil went out with his friends.
He's probably live on YouTube.
He spent the evening out drinking with his friends in the Dapper Dog Bar in Manhattan. During this time, he likely drank more than he could handle, resulting in him throwing up in the bar's bathroom before leaving in a highly unstable and disoriented state. Patrick was then seen turning left onto 90th Street, heading in the direction of the East River. This was the last time anyone would see Patrick alive. Following this night out, Patrick vanished into thin air. Despite extensive efforts, authorities found no leads or clues to his whereabouts. That is until April 7, 1997, when Patrick's lifeless body was found in the East River 50 days after his disappearance.
Wow.
Duty Sergeant of the NYPD Special Investigation Division, Kevin
Guy Fieri?
Gannon, was called to the scene to assist with the body's recovery and examination. Kevin had been a seasoned detective for years, and by this point there was little that could surprise him. However, the circumstances surrounding Patrick's death disturbed him to his core. The more he looked into it, the more strange the situation became. For instance, Kevin noted that Patrick's body wasn't decomposed enough to have been floating in the river for a week, let alone the past 50 days. He also found burn marks on Patrick's body, hinting at the possibility of him being restrained prior to his death. Kevin knew that something wasn't right. Unfortunately, due to the complete lack of evidence pointing to the contrary, Patrick's death was ruled as an accident. Kevin kept thinking over this feeling for the next year before coming across a case that reinforced his suspicions even further. On February 13, 1998, another body was found in the same stretch of water. This body was later identified as 22-year-old Lawrence R. Andrews, who had gone missing on New Year's Eve after celebrating the event with his friends in Times Square. After getting on the case, it didn't take long for Kevin to notice eerie similarities between the two cases, as both bodies were found within yards of each other. Both of them were also young Caucasian males and were on track to have successful careers.
Well, I don't know, Google. I don't know if it's the social. I would say it's a mix. It's definitely like you get the hermits. I would say, nah, it's not really the social butterflies. It's more like the hermits and the social butterfly, the double life social butterfly. So you got the hermit that never, ever, ever goes outside. Like nobody on the neighborhood knows this guy. So he's probably the one doing this. And then you got like the social butterfly lives a double life, like Ted Bundy, you know, like you never know.
They both disappeared in one of the most crowded cities in the world without any trace as well. Most importantly, Kevin also found similar oddities in both cases, where the bodies were a lot less decomposed than they should have been, and there were burn marks indicating possible restraints before their death. Lawrence's case prompted Kevin to look for other similar cases across the US. He enlisted the help of fellow detective Anthony Duarte and a criminal justice professor, Dr. Lee Gilbertson. Together, they began investigating these cases, and soon a chilling pattern began to emerge. In total, they found 45 different instances of young men dying under shockingly similar circumstances as Patrick and Lawrence. Most of them went out for a night of drinking, became more intoxicated than usual, disappeared shortly after, and were later found dead in some body of water. Almost all of them were also Caucasian and on track to have a high-paying career like engineering after college. Most disturbingly, however, they also found graffiti of smiley faces near the bodies of at least a dozen different victims. This led to the three investigators creating the smiley face murder theory. According to this theory, these 45 and possibly many other deaths from the 1990s to 2010s weren't accidents in the slightest. Instead, they were murders committed by a single deranged person or an organized group.
Bro, for that long? Bro, for that long? How long did he say again?
Many other deaths from theory. According to this theory, these 45 and possibly many other deaths from the 1990s to 2010s weren't accidents in the slightest.
No way!
Instead, they were murders committed by a single deranged person or an organized
I would
group
say
of
that.
serial
Copycats?
killers. This is the only
For
logical
sure.
explanation they could find to justify the many oddities and similarities in these incidents. That said, while this theory makes complete sense to some people, others aren't convinced one bit. Criminal profiler Pat Brown, for instance, called this theory ludicrous. She
shit's
believes that the
scaring
idea of
me. I don't
connecting
know why.
smiley faces, one of the most common graffiti symbols, with murders is just absurd, stating, "It's not an unusual symbol. If you look in any area 5 miles square, I bet you could find a smiley face."
That's not true.
The FBI also completely denied this
5
theory in a
miles?
statement, reading, "The FBI has reviewed the information about the victims provided by 2 retired police detectives who have dubbed these incidents the smiley face murders and interviewed an individual who provided information to the detectives. To date, we have not developed any evidence to support links between these tragic deaths or any evidence substantiating the theory that these deaths are the work of a serial killer or killers. The vast majority of these instances appear to be alcohol-related drownings." However, despite these setbacks, the three men have stuck with their theory. They're still working on finding evidence to back their observations. That said, if their hunch is correct, it would mean one of the most wicked serial killers in American history is still at large today.
That's actually crazy if that is real. Cause
I-70 killer.
why?
Robin Fuldauer was a 26-year-old Indiana University graduate who was working at an Indianapolis Payless shoe source store near I-70 in 1992. The 8th of April was supposed to be her day off. However, just as she was getting ready to relax at home, the employee who was supposed to man the counter called in sick. Left with no other options, her manager called Robin and told her to cover the shift
Hello? Yeah, suck a dick.
instead. Robin wasn't very happy
Like,
about this
how
emergency
hard?
shift change, but she reluctantly agreed, arriving at the store at 10 a.m. and starting her shift as usual. Unfortunately, her day was about to get a whole lot
AI
worse.
thinks that this
Everything
crime,
seemed
I believe
normal
AI is
until
about
2 p.m. when the
10%
manager
accurate.
called the store for a routine check. To her surprise, Robin wasn't picking up the phone. She kept trying for a few minutes before giving up and calling the Speedway gas station neighboring the shoe store. One of the gas station employees, a friend of Robin's, went to the Payless store to see if she was doing okay. However, what she found inside left her confused. The store was in slight disarray and some of the shoes were missing from the shelves. The cash register was also open and there was no money in it. Most concerning of all, there were no signs of Robin anywhere. Her friend called out Robin's name, hoping she was just in the back and would respond. But when she didn't hear anything from Robin after minutes of standing in the store, she became worried and called the police at around 2:20 p.m. The cops arrived within minutes and began searching the store for clues on Robin's whereabouts. And it wasn't long before they made a devastating discovery. They found Robin lying in the store's back office, covered in blood.
Wow.
It was already too late. During questioning, an employee from the store across the street claimed to have seen a strange man loitering around the shoe store a couple hours earlier. According to this employee, the man sat on the curb for about a half hour, rifling through his bag and staring at the Payless store. They then saw the same man a few minutes later trying to hitch a ride back to Interstate 465, which was about a quarter mile from the store's location. Unfortunately, they were too far away to get a good look at the man's face. Given the money stolen from the register, and without any other leads, investigators filed this as nothing more than a robbery gone
That's
wrong.
terrible, bro.
However, they couldn't have been more wrong.
Scammer.
Because just 3 days later, something similarly tragic happened to 23-year-old Patricia Smith and 32-year-old Patricia. The two were
So that's
working at a
something to look
bridal
out
shop
for.
in Wichita along I-70. The incident happened a little past their usual closing time as they were waiting for a customer who had a pickup. When they saw a man approaching the store, they assumed that it was the customer. However, this man drew a gun on the two after entering the store, took them to the back, and executed
spoof
both
numbers,
with
but if
shots
you
to the
call
back
them
of their
something,
heads.
call them.
As the killer was leaving the store, he crossed paths with the actual customer the girls were waiting for. Without hesitation, he aimed his gun at the man and ordered him to head to the back of the store. But the customer defied his command and ran, narrowly escaping with his life. He later helped the police draw a sketch of the killer.
Bro, police sketches are the... I'm not gonna lie. I have to find a video. I know there's probably like a police sketch compilation or some shit like that, because these things are terrifying. And shout out to the sketch artists that always like get this crap. Yeah, I'm running all the time, Google. Always gonna run. It's like getting in between a...
Unfortunately,
a
the
crack and a
sketch didn't
rock.
provide much of a breakthrough. By this point, the
This
authorities
one?
were certain they were dealing with a serial killer, but despite
I actually watch Unsolved Mysteries, like to sleep at night. Well, I'm weird. I
their
know.
efforts, the killer's spree continued. By May 7th, he had taken 3 more victims in small, low-traffic stores along the I-70 highway. By the time investigators managed to compile a few more sketches, the I-70 killer stopped his quest and went into hiding. That is until 1993, when he claimed 3 more victims along I-35 in Texas. He tried to hide his identity by changing his weapon, but the investigators were quick to notice the similarities. One of his victims, Vicky Webb, also managed to miraculously survive after getting shot in the neck. If he were ever caught, Vicky's testimony would have been crucial in bringing him to justice. Though, the I-70 killer was never found, and the case went cold for nearly 3 decades. However, then,
Wow.
in 2021, investigators released CCTV footage of a murder that happened in 2001. The suspect in this footage looks strikingly similar to the I-70 killer sketches, potentially giving authorities the lead they need to finally catch him. It's likely only a matter of time before he runs out of places to hide and is captured. But for now, he's still out there, evading police and leaving the case unresolved. We can only hope he doesn't take any more victims in the meantime.
How did she get away with this? I guess, you know, back then, technology definitely is not what it was today, but like, dude, that low-key kind of messed me up just a tad. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be going on no highways in my sleep tonight, so. Leave a like if you're still waiting on Santa to bring you a bike. Santa still owes me an Xbox, the original Xbox from 2005. He has not got me that Xbox. I literally wrote him a letter. I sent it in the mail. I have not gotten that Xbox ever since. So ever since then, I stopped believing in that nigga Santa. Santa and me got beef.
At around 11 p.m. on December 6, 2016, a man named Julio Perez went with his friend to a convenience store a couple of blocks away from his house. According to what he shared online 2 days after, his friend had been afraid to go by herself because the store parking lot was known to be unsafe after dark. After spending some time at the store and buying dinner at Carl's Jr., Julio said bye to his friend and pulled out of the parking lot. But just a few seconds later, a red car can be seen pulling out of the same parking lot and starting to follow him on his way home. Disturbingly, as soon as Julio arrives at the stop sign, the red Chrysler can be seen pulling up right in front of him and blocking his path.
Hell nah.
Hit me up tomorrow then. Later.
But you know what's so crazy? I'm always looking behind me like this when I'm driving, though. For this exact reason. For this exact reason. Yeah, it's sunk in quick with him. He didn't wait though. Oh, they're deep. Bro, you can't drive backwards too long, bro.
Given the circumstances, Julio reacted much quicker than most people would.
Yeah, he
As soon
did.
as he saw someone about to get out of the red car, he put the car in reverse and skillfully backed away. Unfortunately for him, the driver of the red car refused to give up so easily and continued to follow closely.
Skillfully, nah. He's on his butt. He should be right next to him.
It is, man. Wait for me.
Bro, this is terrifying.
I don't know who it is.
They still follow him? He don't know where to go.
Man.
This is actually a worst nightmare. Everybody always thought about this situation in their head, right? I'm not the only person that's thought about this situation before. Like, I've had something like somewhat similar happen. Not like to this level where I'm getting, you know, followed here and there. John! Shout out John Lemon. John, I think you first time chatter in the live stream. So, everybody give a good shout out to John. John be in the comments, but that's crazy work.
At one point during the chase, the attackers throw an unidentified object at Julio's car in an effort to get him to stop. This is when he decides to call 911 for help.
911.
That's not 911, bro. That's roadside assistance. You would have been disappointed, my friend.
Hey, man. 911 emergency. Hey, there's a car following me. He's throwing at me. I'm on Lomas going eastbound, and he's I don't know what he's doing, man.
Okay, Lomas, and what's the closest cross street to
Right
you?
now, San Pedro. It's a red light. Holy I mean, they're I don't know.
That's why you gotta be packing that thing,
Oh
bro.
my god, man.
Everybody's crazy.
It's a red Chrysler 300. Holy cow.
Are they still throwing things?
They're just right behind me. I don't know what they're doing, man.
Although the 911 operator was probably dispatching units as they spoke, it would have probably taken the officers at least a few minutes to arrive, which would have been extremely dangerous for Julio. Luckily, as he's on the phone with the dispatcher, he spots a cop car stopped at a traffic light and pleads for help.
They're right behind me. I don't know what the hell is going on. Oh, there's a cop right next to me. This guy right behind me. Hold on.
Did he get out?
This guy
Are
right
you
here.
still there?
This guy right here.
Oh, they actually listen.
Holy. The cops are going after him.
Oh,
No,
shit.
he just went on a high-speed car chase.
That's actually really,
Holy cow.
bro, a relief that guy must feel. Holy shit. That's crazy. Google, you tough. Google, you tough. Ramon Potato said be battle car mode. Google said you gonna do a pit maneuver. You Arkansas State Troopers, man. Come on, man. Oh my gosh. Stuff like this is why you need to get fussy. Whenever Nani used to flip people off when we first got married and we drive around. I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. In South Florida, people drive crazy. Like, if you haven't been in South Florida, if you come down here for vacation and you decide to rent a car, you're gonna understand why the insurance is so damn high. Okay. I'm such a calm driver. I have my moments. Okay, but it's because I drive a lot, okay? I'm behind the wheel a lot. But I've accepted that everybody is not great drivers, so I don't stress. The only thing that really blows me is just traffic. Dang, that was a wild ride. Facts.
Okay, hang on with me. Hang on.
I just followed a police officer right now. I'm not sure.
Why are you
what
following
the
the
hell
police?
just
I would have went home. The
How
fuck?
you doing, man? I'm with the 911 operator right now. Listen, I don't know what happened. I pulled out. I was gonna go get some food right there on Central, and then all of a sudden this car just pulled up right in front of me. I thought they were gonna carjack me or something, man. Okay. And they started to get out. I put it in reverse, and I just got the hell up out of there and went down towards San Pedro and Central.
Did you get a plate number?
Who's this?
Man, I was. Hell
That's
no.
okay, that's fine. Like I said,
I got it on camera though, bro.
Do you have it on camera?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the suspect managed to get away from the officer during the high-speed chase, and it was never confirmed what his intentions were that night. But judging by
To get his car. What the
his
fuck?
behavior, it's more than likely that this was an attempted carjacking. Had the officer not been at the right place
You don't know
at
what
the
it
right
looked like?
time, Julio would have had to stop at the red light alone, where he would have been at the mercy of the attacker.
I wonder what car
Because
he
neither
had.
the cop nor Julio could get the red Chrysler's license
Shit, me. He said he would have been at mercy of the attacker. You know where? I know y'all thinking what I'm thinking. Shit. I'm pulling through this bitch right here. Squeezing right through this motherfucker. I don't not care. I'm getting out of there.
blade, the Albuquerque Police Department couldn't pursue the matter any further, meaning that the suspect probably continued preying on other victims on the road.
Yeah, I'm getting a new car after that. No cap.
This footage was captured.
Hey, you sleep on them Chrysler 300s now. Them Chrysler 300s, they get modded, bro. These Chrysler 300s have like Hellcat engines in them, bro. That's all. In South Florida, bro, if you see a Chrysler 300 and they trying to race you, bro, don't even try it.
On a random road.
They got
on
that
the
Paul Walker turbo button in their shit. My husband used to have a little bat he carried in the car. Yeah, no, you got to get that thing called a Glock. Give it to your car.
Skirts of
you know?
Warsaw, Poland, on March 30th, 2014. Inside the vehicle is a man and his daughter.
Yeah, nah.
The road is pretty poorly lit, and
bullets
even with
stop,
headlights
bats,
on, the driver
everything.
probably can't see more than 20 or 30 feet in front of him. A few seconds into the video, a car traveling in the opposite direction flashes its headlights at the driver in what appears to be a warning. Unfortunately, the driver doesn't have enough time to react, and this is where things take a pretty dark turn.
Wait, what was that? Was that a person? What are they doing? They flipped!
Jesus Maria.
After swerving to avoid the man standing in the middle
Swerve on that corner, whoa, whoa.
of the road, the driver attempts to correct the vehicle's path. However, this is much easier said than done in the heat of the moment.
Facts.
Unable to control the car, the father and daughter fly off the road and come
Fucking
to
me,
a
you
rest
would have
in a
got ran
ditch.
over.
Although it appears that the man had his back turned to the car at the moment of the incident, there's still no reason to be standing in the middle of a pitch black road while there are cars passing by. Given the man's irrational behavior, it's possible that he was either under the influence of something or attempting to take his own life. But because the man immediately fled the scene, his true intentions that night are anyone's guess. According to the driver, he and his daughter both sustained minor injuries, and the police were never able to find the mysterious man.
It could have been a ghost. It could have been a ghost.
In 2018, Lauren and Brian Swenson were in the process of opening a CrossFit gym in Nairobi, Kenya with 2 local trainers. One day, the Utah couple were on their way to do some filming with their trainers to promote their gym when they suddenly came across a traffic jam on the main road. Soon after taking a detour on a dirt road, the Swensons and the trainers passed 2 officers on foot with weapons who gestured for the couple to give them a ride. For reasons they didn't disclose, they chose not to pick up the officers and continued driving until they came across a white public transport vehicle stopped in the middle of the road. Although the couple didn't notice at the time, the driver of the white van tried to warn them with his headlights, but they missed the signal, and this is where things get disturbing.
Oh my gosh.
Here. Drive forward.
Drive, uncle! Drive, uncle! Drive, uncle! Drive, uncle! Bro, this is not a road to drive down. This is not something to be driving down.
Just as they pass the van, 3 men armed with machetes appear from behind the vehicle and charge at the Swenson's car. Reacting quickly to the situation, the driver immediately shifts the vehicle into reverse to gain some distance. As the men get closer, one of the trainers instructs Brian to drive forward, and as he does, one of the attackers tries to reach through the window with his machete. In a Facebook post she shared after the incident, Lauren mentioned that when they first saw the bandits, Brian's window was only partially up, and that he sped back in reverse to buy some time to roll it up. When the bandits attacked the car, the window was cracked a couple of inches, but luckily it wasn't enough for the machete to fit through.
Oof.
As Brian speeds away on the dirt road, one of the trainers mentions that he could see cops arriving at the scene.
Looks like a Far Cry scene. It does. When the Mad Max Thunderdome Road. This video was inspiration for Far Cry. You guys are crazy. Far Cry 4,
Alarmingly,
Far
a shot
Cry
could be
3.
heard behind the vehicle, presumably from the confrontation between the cops and the men with machetes. In her Facebook post, Lauren mentioned that if she had picked up the officers or even let them ride on the side rails as they went up the road, they would have likely opened fire on the bandits. Luckily, the Swensons...
No, that's not what was gonna happen. Them officers that were walking, they were in on that shit too. You were gonna give them a ride and they were gonna bring them back to that area right there. You just said they're on the same dirt road. I'm sorry. That's just my street smarts talk.
And the trainers were able to ride away safely, but it was not confirmed if anyone was hurt after the encounter.
Trust no one. Oh, Leggy! Leggy! Well, how about that? How about that, Leggy? When the Heat need to fucking lose, Heat beat the Pelicans by 49 points. Nobody cares, I know. But damn it, finally fucking something to be happy. And we broke a franchise record. We scored 153 points to secure the 10th seed. We secured the 10th seed! Oh my gosh! The 10th seed!
In May of 2021, a series of storms swept through West Virginia, bringing winds as strong as 70 miles per hour to the region. On May 26th, a woman named Amber Rivas was driving down Route 51 in Jefferson County when power
Zion gonna be playing in Miami, man.
lines started falling across the road. This is what her dash cam captured.
What the fuck? Oh no, that's terrifying. This makes me think of that movie, The Day the Earth Stood Still. Every time I see something like this. Keanu
With a swift
Reeves.
maneuver, Amber manages to swerve off the road just in time to avoid the impact of the power lines. She later uploaded the video to Facebook and thanked the people who stopped to help her. These situations are incredibly dangerous for more than one reason. In addition to the threat of being crushed under the weight of the falling power line, electrocution is also a significant risk. If a live power line makes direct contact with a car or even comes close to it, the driver can be fatally electrocuted.
Yeah.
The power line could
No
also
chance.
potentially ignite the car's fuel, leading to a fire or explosion. Luckily, the wires didn't come close enough to Amber's car to do any damage, and she was able to drive away unharmed.
Johann Liebert.
This clip was captured in Chile on February 26, 2022, and later uploaded to Reddit. In the footage that was captured by the
West
driver's
Virginia
dash
in the
cam,
house.
the white car in front can be seen braking more than is necessary and moving a little suspiciously down the road that leads up to a tunnel. The driver with the dash cam keeps his distance as the white car
West
comes to
Virginia.
a complete stop. And this is where things get interesting.
Oh, they hopped out. Now, this is another nightmare for me, too. I don't care, though. You getting ran over. Yeah, you're getting ran over. I'm going down the right side. You're getting ran over. Yeah. Just like that. Just like that. Yeah. Just like that. That's how exactly I would have did it. Like, you got me fucked up. You think I'm not finna dry this bitch? The fuck? Bitch, you think I'm not about to dry this bitch? You got me fucked up. Got me fucked up.
As soon as the white car stops, at least 4 suspects jump out and start running towards the driver's car in what we can assume to be a carjacking attempt. Having sensed that something was wrong from the start, the driver reacts in a split second and accelerates quickly. The attackers have just enough time to move out of the way as the driver rams into the white car and takes off the door as he speeds away. One thing that caught many viewers' attention is the fact that the man remained incredibly calm throughout the attempted carjacking. His awareness of the situation and quick thinking ultimately kept him out of harm's way, and based on his behavior, it's very likely that this isn't the first time something like this happened to him. This seems to be echoed by the description that was uploaded to Reddit by the user who posted the video. The caption read, "To give more context, this happened in Chile. I wasn't driving, but I often use that route. Here, this type of carjacking has become so common that it's a risk to get out of the car after 10 p.m., and all drivers have learned to keep their distance from the front cars on exits." There's not a lot of information on this incident online, and it was never confirmed if the carjackers were caught by police or not.
I thought this was Miami.
In August of 2020, a series of fires broke out across Northern California, causing a wave of destruction, the likes of which had only been seen 5 times
What the fuck? This shit look like some fucking movie.
across Northern California, causing a wave
This shit look like WWE 2006 Armageddon.
of destruction, the likes of which had only been seen 5
That's
times
how-
before in that area.
I
In
I
what
remember
came to
that
be known as
pay-per-view.
the infamous LNU lightning complex,
Blush!
multiple fires merged together, burning a total of 363,220 acres,
What's up,
destroying
Blush?
1,491 structures, and heavily damaging another 32. Caused by a combination of thousands of lightning strikes, a record-breaking heat wave, and strong winds blowing across the state, the LNU lightning complex soon grew to be the 6th largest fire complex in California history. One of the largest fires, known as the Hennessy
terrible.
Blaze, originated in Napa County and eventually merged with 7 other fires to burn over 300,000 acres of wildland. On August 18th, just a day after the Hennessy fire started, a man named Tyler Day captured
Look at that.
dashcam footage of the walls of flames as he drove through the blaze on Highway 128 and Steel Canyon Road in Napa. This is what he saw.
Look at that. Look at that, bro. That looks so surreal. I wonder how your car handles that kind of like inhalation. You can't see shit. Bro, you driving on faith and fear, bro. Is this the recent fires? It looks like driving through Hellscape video game. I grew up in NorCal. Fires are no joke. Yeah, this was in South Cal. This is an older video. Yeah, this is an older video. No. That's why we need paper straws. This guy. Google. When Paradise Burned, that's what it looked like. Bro, this looks insane though, like.
In what looks like a scene from an apocalyptic movie, Tyler
Not
drives
even
through the
that.
raging
This
fire
looks like
to
hell.
safety, capturing this terrifying footage of the burning forest along the way. From the threat of falling trees to melted roadways and blocked paths, driving through a raging fire is obviously extremely dangerous. Luckily, Tyler was able to make it out alive.
Bro, one wrong turn, like off to the side in a ditch, it's over with, bro. Like, it's over with. No, you're not gonna rescue.
Sadly, the same can be said for others, as the fire complex claimed the lives of 6 people and injured another 5 as the flames engulfed entire communities in California.
Imagine getting
At the time of the
baked and
recording,
seeing
the
this.
Hennessy fire was
Oh
0%
my God.
contained, and it wasn't until October 2nd of
panic.
that year that the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection announced that the entire complex had been extinguished.
The panic that would set
On the
in.
evening of Sunday, April 14th, 2019, a power line came down at the intersection of Route 70 and Colonial Drive in Manchester County, New Jersey, in the middle of a thunderstorm. The wire ended up falling and getting stuck on a traffic light, and in the early morning hours of Monday, April 15th, an employee with Jersey Central Power and Light went to untangle the wires. Sergeant Hemhauser from the Manchester Township Police Department was parked at the intersection,
pay enough
thanks to
for
which
this.
the incident was captured on the dash cam of his patrol car.
They don't pay enough for that, bro. I know that's what he's thinking in his head. I'm in Cali. All those fires were horrible. I wasn't close to them, but all the smoke.
In the footage, the worker can be seen untangling the wire and pulling at it in an attempt to get it unstuck. Of course, for this to be safe, the power line would have to be de-energized, especially if the ground was still wet. In a later interview, Sergeant Hemhauser claimed that he was under the impression that the power line had been previously de-energized, and it seems as if the worker thought the same thing. But just a few seconds into the video, the worker gets the scare of a lifetime when the power line touches the ground. As soon as the wire makes contact with the wet road, it bursts into flames. The worker can be seen immediately dropping the wire and leaping back in surprise, obviously not expecting the power line to be live.
That's crazy.
After the initial shock, the utility worker takes off running and makes his way to safety. According to Sergeant Hemhauser, the flames were so hot that they burned holes in the asphalt on the street. After the incident was reported, Jersey Central Power and Light immediately launched an investigation to determine why the power line was even live in the first place if a utility worker had been given the green light to fix it. Although the exact cause of the incident was never publicly revealed, no further incidents have been reported in the area.
Bro, what the heck? That's actually like
This dashcam
insane.
footage was captured on March 1st, 2013 in Bashkira, a republic of Russia that sits between Volga and the Ural Mountains in Eastern Europe. In the video, a tornado can be seen quickly approaching the vehicle and the adjacent house. What follows is a shocking display of the sheer force of nature as the 130-mile-per-hour winds wreak havoc on the house and its surroundings.
That's attempted murder. Facts. Wow. I'm telling you, the day the earth stood still. Bro.
At first, only the tree and some tarp that was flying on the ground can be seen moving in the wind. But just a few seconds later, the roof is ripped off the house, the vehicle is thrust forward, and debris starts flying everywhere as the tornado rages on. When the video was originally uploaded to Reddit in 2014, the user who posted it didn't include any context surrounding the incident. We can only hope that there was no one in the house when the tornado struck.
That's a lie, because I could point it out to you. I seen somebody, unless that was a ghost. And I'm blocking the screen, so I'm going to let it go back to that, but
And quickly approaching the
I don't want to feel like I'm crazy, because I swear I seen somebody, and I want to make sure y'all see them too, just so I'm not crazy. I don't want to feel like I'm crazy, okay?
1st, 2013 in Bashkira, a republic
gonna
of
be
Russia
over
that
here.
sits between Volga and the Ural Mountains in Eastern Europe. In the video, a tornado can be seen quickly approaching the vehicle and the adjacent house. What
Where's the
follows is
person?
a shocking display of the sheer force of nature as the
Yeah, see, look, somebody's right here, okay? See, I'm not crazy. Ha ha.
130-mile-per-hour winds wreak havoc on the house and its surroundings.
Yeah, so whoever that person was, yeah, they're fucked. I'm sorry. Even though he said he'd hoped that nobody was there, yeah, they're fucked.
We can only hope that there was no one in the house when the tornado struck, but we'll likely never know if that was the case.
Well, that's why Uncle Lou know. You know what I'm saying? Uncle Lou know. All right, so that one's that. Now, closing thoughts on that one in particular. I'm scared. You know what I'm saying? Like, That one was crazy. I would say the one with the power line was crazy, but really the natural disaster ones are pretty crazy. And seeing you guys in the comments talking about how you guys were in fires and stuff. Like, let's actually talk about the different areas that we're in and the different natural disasters. Because, bro, depending on the location you're in, you're gonna get one or the other. Like, for instance, South Florida, you're gonna get hurricanes, right? In the Midwest, you're gonna get like tornadoes and shit like that. California, you guys are gonna get wildfires. Like, what? That is insane. Everywhere has something, and you guys also get earthquakes as well. California, I traded wildfires for tornadoes and polar vortex. Yeah, I'm not even gonna lie. The polar vortexes. After I looked that up the other day too, yeah, and I'm cool.